We've now finished emptying all the historic collections from Lady Baillie's bedroom, and the next phase of works involves sanding back the floor so that we can get a nice finish on it. However, that process will create some dust and dirt, so we actually need to protect the walls before we actually reach that stage. The project here in Lady Baillie's suite is in full swing now, and we've reached a stage where we've sanded the floors and covered them over with a protected layer. And now we are moving on to painting the ceilings. But before we could do that, there was a process of sanding down all the rough areas of paint, but also a lot of research into what the original colour would have been during the 1930s. And as you can see from the sample patch that we've put on the corner up there, the original colour was quite a bit darker than the lighter colour that has been on the ceiling for the last 20 years. So throughout this process we're learning so much about the Duchess scheme. But what's lovely about the original ceiling paint colour is that you can see how it ties in with the colour of the stone fireplace, but also the wooden mouldings on the blue walls.
So we're also doing some conservation work on Lady Baillie's dressing room next door to her bedroom, and this was also painted by Boudin. And in places we've got paint coming away, and there are places where it's completely lost on some of the mouldings, so we're going to be restoring that.
As part of the restoration of Lady Baillie's bedroom suite, we are here at the storage facility in London transporting the textiles to the Textile Conservator in Kent. The reason we store historic objects off-site when we're doing a project like Lady Baillie's suite is so that it can be stored in very carefully controlled conditions that's secure, that's clean, and so that no damage occurs to our objects. We're at a stage now where the protective plastic wall hangings have come down, and we can now tackle this painting above the fireplace, which is quite unusually set within the panelling. And what that means is we can't just take it down, we need to work out how to take off the mouldings around the painting in order to release it so it can come down and be sent for conservation.
Well, fortunately, removal of the painting was a lot easier than we thought. Interestingly, it's what's behind the painting that's proved rather interesting, in the fact there's some earlier decoration, which we're going to investigate later on.
There's years and decades of dirt there, but also to find that there's this earlier scheme that survived behind the panelling, because we know that there was an earlier phase of decoration within the bedroom, so that gives us yet more evidence to fill in that gap in its history, so we can find out. We can look at the paper that's hanging there, we can see, is it just a plain paint finish on there, or is there maybe a design? We can look at that while we're here.
Wow. To have this down from the wall in Lady Baillie's bedroom for the first time in probably 80 years is really quite special. We've really got an opportunity now to clean up the whole painting. It will look a whole lot brighter. All in all, really exciting to get this down, and really pleased to be able to move on to the next phase.
Well, people don't actually realise the significance of this finish by Boudin. There are only 3 rooms where he actually achieved this treatment to get this effect. The other 2 interiors have gone. This is the last surviving example. It actually looks like quite a contemporary finish, but when you think of the period you're going back to in the early 20th century, this was quite a daring effect to actually make something look shabby. I don't like to use the word shabby chic, but it is a distressed, softened effect. It's something that started in the early 20th century, this effect of slight wear, slight decay and slight fading to give a more romanticised image of an interior.
Today we've got our 18th century still life painting going back on display in Lady Baillie's bedroom. It's a team effort with our on-site collections care officer and our paint specialists and our conservation carpenter to install this painting back into the panelling from where it came out in order for conservation work to take place. And we're delighted by the result because the conservation work has not only cleaned it but also made it more structurally sound as well. So this is a key element of the decorative scheme going back on display today. Ooh. Well, this is an exciting discovery. We've just taken this panelling off in order to access the electrics, and we've come across these annotated notes on the reverse, and we can decipher in French June 1901, which is a strong indication. Obviously this panelling came from earlier and from elsewhere, and we've identified perhaps a region en Seville in France. So this is an indication that this panelling came from France and is dated much earlier than the scheme in here, which was 1936. So this is very exciting to see. Today we have our art handlers back on site along with our textile conservators, and we're reinstalling Lady Baillie's half-tester bed. So that's going to go up. We're going to get our textile conservators back, and they're going to redress the bed with the conserved textiles. We've also got objects that have come back from storage today, so we're going to be reinstalling these in the site, and the rooms are going to essentially be put back together. Lady Baillie Suite has now reopened to visitors. It's available to view once more after nearly 2 years of planning and development of this ambitious conservation project to restore not only the walls, the floors, the textiles, and also some of the key objects on display here in the suite, but also to get a sense of the scheme as a whole, how Stéphane Boudin came to create this wonderful castle for Lady Baillie in 1935. And we want our visitors, when they come, to feel like they're stepping into the 1930s and getting a sense of these private spaces that Lady Baillie enjoyed. We are so thrilled that the Lady Baillie Suite is now available to visitors once more and is open for the public to enjoy.